Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to my tutorial on Mystcraft Age Writing. A lot of people have expressed interest in seeing a tutorial on how exactly to write your Mystcraft Ages. Now, Mystcraft Age Writing is by design a little tricky and a little hard and sometimes is a little confusing. So that's why I wanted to write this tutorial to show you guys exactly how to do it and the best chance for getting a stable age that contains exactly what you want. Now, before we get into it, I should note that you need a little bit of basic knowledge about Mystcraft. So you need to know how to use the writing desk, and you need to know how to use the bookbinder and the inkwell just to get basic Mystcraft age writing. If you don't know those, go ahead and watch one of my mod spotlights on Mystcraft to kind of get a better idea of how these work. So this assumes a basic knowledge of Mystcraft, just the basics of how to use the mod. If you don't know that, like I said, you know where to go. For now, I'm going to show you guys how to write your ages and go for maximum stability. So without further ado, let's start seeing what we can do with Mystcraft. Alright guys, so the first thing I want to tell you about is the grammar system. Now, it's not going to be easy for me to demonstrate, I just have to tell you about it, so I apologize for that. But basically what happens in Mystcraft, when you write pages and books in Mystcraft, you have a bunch of symbols that you can place in there. There are certain things that are required, however. For an age, you need things like biomes. It has to know what biomes are going to be in the age. It has to know what kind of suns and moons and celestial events you're going to have. It needs to know some type of weather, whether there's going to be no weather at all, or if there's going to be eternal snow, or just normal weather, things like that. So these required effects are going to be in every book written, and that's done by using the grammar system that XCompWiz made. So basically what happens is, if you write an age and it doesn't have certain things, the grammar system is going to fill that in for you. So if you don't give it a celestial like a sun or a moon, it's going to say, you know what, he didn't tell me what moon or what kind of sun to put in there, so I'm just going to put one in myself. And it's going to be a little bit random about what type of sun and moon to put in. It might give you an eternal noon sun, or it might give you, just a normal sun moving through the sky, or it'll give you a dark sun. You won't have any sun at all. So it's going to be random. So what you need to do is be extremely explicit in how you write your ages if you want them to come out exactly the way you want. So if you want your ages to be exactly as you defined, you have to write them very carefully. If you leave things out, it's going to randomly fill them in. For example, if you don't give the sky a sky color, it might randomly choose a red sky. You have to specify a blue sky color or a green sky color, and you have to be a little bit specific about it. So we're going to get into some more of the details of that, but I wanted you to know about the grammar system. Now, in the past, what would happen is if you left certain things out, you would instantly have instability. That's no longer necessarily the case. So what happens is the grammar system fills things in for you, but it might fill things in that add instability to the world. For example, you might randomly get some diamond ore tendrils. Now, the diamond ore symbol happens to add instability to the age. So because the grammar system automatically put in diamond ore tendrils, it says, oh look, there's diamond ore, so you're getting instability. So again, you have to be very explicit in how you write the age. But just because you create a completely random age doesn't mean it's definitely going to have instability. In fact, it probably won't even have any instability at all. It'll just be totally random. However, if there is some kind of random thing added with instability like diamond ores, then there will be a little bit of instability. The other way to get instability is by writing your ages incorrectly. So say you just put, I want a single biome world, and you add 3 biome symbols. Well, the 3 biome symbols doesn't work with one single biome, so that's going to add instability. So basically the only way you get instability is by writing your ages incorrectly, or if the grammar system adds some symbols that by default add instability, like dense ores and diamond ore. So hopefully you understand what I mean by that, but let's go ahead and write an age. I've taken a creative spawned notebook and I've separated it into several categories. Things like biomes. So in this one we just have all the different biomes that are available to us. Okay, biome controllers, weather and celestial, modifiers and blocks, and we'll get into what all these different pages are all about in just a moment here. So let's write our very first age. Alright, so I'm going to create a notebook here in the writing desk so that I can easily copy into the notebook, and then we'll eventually move that into here. Okay, so let's take a look. First off, what you need for an age, the very first and most important thing is the biomes that are going to be in that age. So you have to specify 2 things. Number one, you have to specify a biome controller, And biome controllers dictate what type of biomes you've got. You could have huge biomes, which are larger than normal. Just large biomes, which are slightly larger than normal. Single biome means you only have one. Medium biomes are just the average size of your biomes. Tiled, which is the checkerboard pattern. Small biomes and tiny biomes are much smaller. So the first thing you have to do in your book is say what type of biomes you're going to have. Now, the most important thing you need to know about biomes and biome controllers is that biomes come first when you write this, and biome controllers come second, because biomes are the adjectives to the biome controller nouns. So basically, if we want to have a plains biome and we want that to be the only biome that exists in the age, we can simply write in the word plains first. There it is. And then single biome right there. So this is saying that we're going to have a plains biome that is a single biome. Now, the biomes is one of the places where you can easily have instability, and that's because you need to specify the exact number of biomes that you want to have. For example, for single biome, it only accepts one biome type. In this case, we chose plains. We could have easily chosen anything else, but we can only specify one biome because it's a single biome. It makes sense. And with tiled, for example, you can only choose two biomes. If you choose any more, you're going to be adding instability to your age. So if you start throwing other biomes in there, it's going to be a problem because it only expects you to have two, and you added more than it expected you to have. Now, if you put less than two, if you only put one with your tiled biomes, you might not get instability, but the grammar system would probably fill in some extra pages for you, and that, you'd get a little bit of a random selection there. Now, finally, with tiny, small, huge, large, and medium biomes, they can accept at least 3 and any more. So you can have 20 if you want. I mean, you can pick all the biomes in the game. Don't worry about it. But you have to have at least 3. And again, the grammar system will fill it in automatically for you if you don't specify it correctly. Now, if we went and traveled to this age right now, it would be a plains biome, and it would be only a plains biome everywhere. However, we don't want to do that. We want to, show you guys more details about how to write your ages correctly. But just know that we would get a single biome plains biome age, but everything else about the age would be completely randomized. Now, let's take a look at the weather and celestial stuff. In here, we have things like boundless sky, dark moon, dark stars, and dark sun. What these mean is there is no sun, moon, or stars. So if you put in the dark sun symbol, there won't be a sun at all. Okay, it'll be completely, blacked out, so there won't be one. You won't see anything. And the same for moon and stars. Okay, you've got Ender Starfield, and then here comes some of the weather stuff like eternal rain, snow, and storm, or eternal weather. Okay, fast weather means it runs faster than normal. No weather means no weather at all. Normal moon, normal stars, and normal sun. Those are just exactly how they sound. You have a normal moon or a normal sun. Normal weather just acts like your normal overworld age. And then finally, overcast and slow weather. Okay, so those are the weather and celestial symbols. Now, some of these symbols can take what are called modifiers. For example, you can give yourself a normal sun. Now, the normal sun symbol can be modified for where it starts in the sky, how it moves across the sky, and how rapidly it moves. Okay, so if we wanted to, we could go down here to the modifiers page and look at how you modify your normal sun. So let's find some. So double length means it moves, about half as slow. It takes twice as long to go across the sky. Down here we've got east, so it moves to the east. Okay, full length, that's just a normal length. Okay, so things like that. Let's take a look. Half length means it's twice as fast. It takes, half as long to move from one side of the sky to the next. And then finally down here we've got zero length, so that means it, doesn't move at all. So zenith, for example, is what used to be the noon symbol. So if you wanted a sun that just stayed in the noon position and never moved, you would write this with a zero length zenith normal sun. And that would give you a normal sun that just stays in the noon position and never moves. Now, because of the grammar system, if you just put in here normal sun, like this, okay, what you're going to wind up with is a normal sun, but the grammar system might say, hey, you didn't tell me what kind of normal sun you wanted. You didn't tell me where it should start in the sky. You didn't tell me how fast it should move. You didn't tell me any of the details that I like to know. So it might randomly add those in. So again, the more specific you are, the more specific the age you write is going to be. If you just put normal sun, you might get stuck with a sun that doesn't move, or you get stuck, with a sun that moves twice as fast or half as fast as you might want. So what you want to make sure you do is add some modifiers in there. So like I said, I'm going to do exactly what I said. I'm going to get a zero length and a zenith. Okay, so we're going to grab the zero length page here and the zenith page. and I'm going to add them to my notebook before the normal sun. It's important that any modifiers that you're writing go before what's being modified. So it's just like the adjective and noun system in the English language, right? You say it's a blue sky. You don't say it's a sky that's blue. Okay, so the modifiers go before what's being modified. So think of it as adjectives. Zero, length, and zenith are your adjectives, and normal sun is your noun. So I've already written in about the sun. I'm going to go ahead and just put in normal stars and normal moon. Okay, so by adding those in, there aren't going to be any modifiers I'm putting in here, so we get maybe random sky, moon, and random suns, or stars. It might be that we get red stars, it might be that we get green stars, who knows, okay? And for the moon, we don't know what kind of moving it's going to do across the sky. As for weather, I'm going to go ahead and put in here no weather. Weather symbols do not take modifiers, at least at this time, so there's nothing you have to add in for weather. Whatever you put in for weather is going to be what it's going to be. Cool. Let's move on. The next symbol type is visual symbols. Now these aren't required for an age, but the grammar system will fill them in for you if you don't have some of them, and it's a little bit random. Typically it likes to have about 3 of these chosen, so if you have 3, it's less likely that the grammar system will fill more in, but again, it's a little bit random, so you might wind up with more. In here are things like cloud color, fog color, sunset color, sky, foliage, water, night sky, and grass color. So it's just anything that's like visual like that. So if you want to go ahead and change the sky color or the grass color or the foliage, that kind of thing, it's all done through the visual. So I'm going to leave those out, and we'll see if the grammar system automatically fills some in. Now, a note about visuals before we move on to features is that when you go ahead and fill in the visual colors, you're going to use the modifier blocks to pick which color you want. So if we wanted a blue sky, we could easily pick blue and then sky color, right? But here's the thing. Sometimes the grammar system is going to fill in a few more colors for you automatically. So if you want to be certain about getting the exact color you want, fill in a few of them. If you wanted to be really sure that your sky, for example, was yellow, then go ahead and put, 5 or 6 yellow pages in there, and then sky color. So if you just put yellow, 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 and then sky color, that kind of says, you know what, there's really barely any chance that the grammar system is going to fill in an extra random color, and if it does happen to, don't worry about it, because the coloring is weighted. So if you have 6 yellows and then throws a red in there, the sky is going to be so yellow you won't even notice the red. Okay, so basically what you're looking for here is if you really want to be certain the color you get is exactly one you chose, throw a few extras in there, and it'll prevent any random added colors by the grammar system from messing with the color that you asked for. Okay, next up we've got features. This is another important one. There's actually a couple different types of features. There's the terrain modifying features, things that modify terrain generation. Okay, and that's things like caves. We've also got in that list ravines, skylands, which is in here somewhere, and tendrils. Okay, and finally, a new symbol that you guys might not have seen yet. It's called spheres. Spheres are like tendrils, and maybe we'll get a chance to look at them. And again, this likes to have about 3. So what you want to do here is try and put about 3 of these symbols in here. Now, if all you really want in your age is caves, you can easily add 1, 2, 3 caves pages to your notebook, and it'll say, all right, I've got about 3 terrain gen symbols in here, so I'll be kind of happy about it. It's going to be less likely that the grammar system is going to add things randomly, but it still might. Okay. Now the other type of terrain gen modifier is what's called populators. So the terrain gen or the terrain modifiers are things like I just said, caves and ravines, skylands, tendrils, and spheres. Populators are things that come after world gen, things like villages, strongholds, minecrafts, or mine shafts, and basically anything else. So things like crystal formations, lakes and dungeons and trees, mine shafts, a nether fortress, obelisks, pretty much anything else. And there's really not a magic number that it's happy with, but basically the more things you add, the less randomization you'll get. But it's really not that big a deal. If you didn't intend for strongholds to be in your age and they get randomly added, you're probably not going to be too upset about that. So I'll go ahead and add a few of these things here. Villages, I'll add, ravines are fun to have. Dungeons, sure, why not? Deep lakes. Deep lakes are your underground lakes. Now those can also take modifiers, by the way. So you can put, water deep lakes or lava deep lakes. And you'll see here in modifiers and blocks that one of the things you get to add as a modifier is the type of block that's going to be in there. So you can have crystal blocks, you can have diamond ore blocks, you can have dirt blocks, grass blocks, and then down at the bottom you'll also see water and lava exists in here. So there's water blocks and lava blocks. So these things, again, are modifiers that can modify certain symbols, like the ones we just added for deep ocean, or deep lakes. Okay, so deep lakes here. So if we want to say exactly what type of deep lakes we're going to get, we should probably specify that by using a modifier block. So I'm going to grab the lava block here. And again, like I told you guys, you have to put the modifier, the lava block, before the deep lakes. So there we go, lava block, deep lakes. So your underground lakes will be populated with lava in this age. Again, if you don't put the lava block, it might randomly choose what type of liquid to make your deep lakes out of. Okay, the next two categories are terrain generation and lighting. These are also required, and if you leave them out, it will definitely fill them in for you. Terrain generation are things like cave world, which is basically all completely underground, or you might have flat worlds, which are completely flat, and then standard terrain gen. And these guys also take a modifier. So for example, with standard terrain gen, there's two modifiers you want to apply to it. What type of block makes up the standard terrain gen, and what type of block makes up the liquids in your standard terrain gen. So that if you have, like an ocean biome or a river biome, what kind of liquid is in those biomes. So if you wanted to, you could create like a weird terrain, like you could use end stone and lava, and that would create a terrain like that. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and grab the modifiers and blocks, and I'm going to find something in here like end stone block and lava block. And then I'm going to add the standard terrain. Okay, so what that's going to give me is a standard terrain that's made up of end stone and lava instead of stone and water. Oh boy, that's going to be a pretty weird one. Also keep in mind that void is an option here as well, so if you want a void age, that's where this comes in. Instead of standard terrain, you choose void age. And of course, it probably goes without saying, but I should emphasize, because this is a tutorial video, that the void age symbol does not accept modifiers. So do not place blocks and liquids before the void age symbol, otherwise they'll be dangling modifiers, and that could cause instability or other problems. So make sure, if you're using a void age symbol, note that it does not accept modifiers. Cool. And again, if you don't specify exactly what to make your standard terrain out of, it might randomly choose. It's pretty likely that you'll probably get, stone and water, but it might, decide to do something different. So again, the more descriptive you are and the more accurately you write your book, the more exact your age is going to be. Cool. And then finally, we've got effects. Now, these are things like the accelerated effect and the charged effect, which always causes lightning, meteors, rainbow. These will not be randomly chosen, so I think the chance for these to be randomly chosen is something like 0%. So you don't have to worry about them getting randomly added in, but you can add them if you want. Alright, so let's review the book that we've written so far. We've got a single biome with plains. Because we chose single biome, you can only have one biome listed. Otherwise, you'll be adding instability. We've got a zero length, zenith, normal sun. Okay, we've got a normal stars and normal moon, and we didn't specify exactly what to do with those, so it might randomize it a little bit. We've got no weather in the age. There is no modifiers for weather, so we don't have to worry about those. We've also got caves. We've got 3 of them, hoping to make the grammar system happy. It's going to say, oh, you've got a whole bunch of good stuff in here, so I'm not going to try and add too much more. It might add 1 or 2 more things, but because we added a lot of cave symbols, and we added villagers, ravines, and dungeons, hopefully we'll be pretty good. Okay, again, it's a little bit random, so you might get a randomly added symbol here or there. And then we've got deep lakes that are populated with lava, and then we made our standard terrain generation lava and end stone. Now, the one last thing we didn't add was lighting effects. Now, lighting effects are, again, important. You want either normal lighting, which is just like your standard overworld, Okay, you could also have a bright lighting, which means it's light everywhere. Underground, everywhere is completely bright, max light level everywhere you go. However, that doesn't mean mobs can't spawn. So bright lighting, while it looks bright, mobs can still spawn there, unless, of course, you place down torches, and those will actually prevent the lighting. So it's just a visual effect. It just shows and looks like it's bright. And then finally, dark lighting is the opposite. It's kind of dark everywhere you go, even if you have torches down. Okay, but it doesn't affect mob spawning. It just affects how things look. So we're going to go with normal lighting in here. So we'll do that. There we go. So let's go ahead and place our book into the bookbinder. And of course, I'm going to need to get some paper and some ink here so that I can go ahead and get what I need to get. There we go, a link panel. All Mystcraft books must start with a link panel, as we should know. So link panel is always your first page. All right, so I think I've got everything I need. Let's go take a look. Now, before we jump through to this age and see what it looks like, I should note that it is important that you place your plains biome symbol before your single biome, because the plains biome is actually a modifier, so you want to modify the single biome symbol with the plains biome symbol, so make sure to place that on the left, okay? And here goes nothing, jumping through to the age. What's it going to look like? Oh my, pretty interesting looking age. So what did we get here? It looks like the sky is pretty dark, so it might be kind of like a blackish sky, but the fog color appears to be yellow. So remember, we didn't specify exactly what kind of sky color and fog color we wanted, so therefore the grammar system automatically added it in itself. If I had specified that I want, white fog color and blue sky, that's what I would have gotten, but because we didn't specify it, it automatically filled it in. But we did specify for standard terrain, and we did specify we want plains biome. So you can see here that on my screen it's indicating that I'm in a plains biome, which is good. So we're definitely in the right type of biome. All right, everywhere we go will be a plains biome because of the way we wrote the age correctly. We also specified that we want end stone instead of regular smooth stone as our terrain generation, and we wanted lava instead of water. So anywhere that the plains biome would have had water in it, we're going to have lava instead. And anywhere that we would normally have dirt or stone, we're going to have end stone instead. Okay, so that's how you write an age. Basically, you need to be very descriptive and fill things in. Pretty cool. So guys, what I've created is a nifty little sign system here to demonstrate to you, the different types of things that you need to have. So for example, you need biomes and you need a biome controller. In the example I just did, we had a plains biome and a single biome. So plains was the biome and single biome was the controller. You also need to specify your terrain type and what blocks and liquids will be populated in them. In this case, we did end stone, lava, and standard terrain. You also need some form of lighting. That doesn't take any modifiers, so we just did normal lighting. You need to specify a sun, and for that you can specify the direction, the starting point, and the speed. And in this case, we didn't specify a direction, we left that blank. Our starting point was the zenith, so that was noon, and the speed was 0 length, which means it didn't move at all. And for the type of sun, we did normal sun instead of dark sun. The same for the moon, direction, starting point, and speed. We didn't specify any of those, but we did specify that we wanted a normal moon as opposed to a dark one. Then we need stars, okay? And the only modifier they really accept are color type. And in this case, we didn't specify what color stars we want. You'll also want fog color, which probably falls just under the visual category, but that's the color of the fog. And in this case, we didn't specify anything, so that's why we got kind of that yellowish fog color. You definitely need to have weather, though, and in our case, we specified no weather. It also likes you to have at least some features in there, and the more features you add, the better. And in our case, we did caves, we did villages, we did ravines, and we also specified deep lakes. And because deep lakes accepts a modifier, we told it we want lava deep lakes. So our lava blocks populated our deep lakes. And then finally, you have the option to put in visuals. It's less likely that you're going to get random visuals, but it does happen, as we saw with the fog color. If you have some dangling, it's called modifiers. So if we just put the color blue in here, the grammar system is going to say, hey, I see you added a blue symbol, but you didn't add anything to modify it with. So I'm going to randomly choose something to modify it with, such as grass color, or it might add it as a sky color. So if you just leave a random modifier page in here, the grammar system is going to try to fill it in and try and use it somewhere. So that's something to keep in mind. And with that, guys, I think we're ready to wrap up the Mystcraft tutorial on stable age writing. So again, it's very important that you specify, and the more things you fill in, the less likely you are to have random things added. And the less random things added you have, the less likely you are for instability. Especially now in the later versions of Mystcraft, instability is a lot harder to come by, but if you do a really bad job of writing your ages, for example, like I said, leaving dangling modifiers out there, or maybe using bad symbols like dense ores and diamond ores, or finally, if you incorrectly write things like having multiple biomes associated to a single biome, you might get instability. However, like I said, the more accurate you are with your writing, the less things the grammar system is going to fill in, and the more specific your age is going to be. So, this is Direwolf20 signing off on the Mystcraft Age Writing tutorial. Hope you enjoyed checking it out, and definitely let me know if this helped you out or not. I'm hoping that it did. Alright guys, take it easy!